The story starts with the main lead holding a sword on the shoulder of Ianfried Dan Hellsdante, the Emperor of Hellsdante. He shouted, "How dare you! You may also be a Hellsdante, but that won't help you escape the curse." Carnephelia Hellsdante, second princess of the Hellsdante Empire, said, "I would expect no less. I can end Ianfried's life before he gets here. I don't mind being cursed if I can end your life once and for all." Ianfried shouts, "Huh. Is this your final ploy to get his attention?" She is surprised. "What?" He continues, "What makes you think he'll mourn your death? That would happen only in your dreams, little sister. What makes you think he'll forgive the wife that came from the Empire, that dragged his country into ruins?" She thinks internally, "You need to focus, Carnephelia. You can't let this bastard get to you." She continues, "I know I'll die if I kill you. The curse will prevent me from being reincarnated into my next life. No one will remember that I existed. But what about it?" She cracks the sword on his chest and says, "Who cares about the damned curse? Strike the killing blow." "I've heard enough of his conniving lies." She slashes the sword, her hands trembling. "The Hellsdante Empire will fall today. We're paying the price for taking advantage of the blessing our God bestowed upon us." She steps forward and kicks him, cheered, until the very end. "My sibling and I were destined to be enemies. I don't have much time left. I can feel the curse pulsing through my veins. It will soon reach my heart. The shouts of the rebellion are getting closer. But it's still quiet here on the final day of the Empire. He should arrive any minute now. Would things have been different if I had killed Ianfried earlier? If I had been stronger? If I had more power? Would I have been able to protect you?" "Is it you?" She says, "Now, I'm the only Hellsdante left. It's all over. You may have wanted to have your own revenge. I'm sorry I took it away from you. I don't have much time, so please hear me out. I hope you find happiness. I was the cause of your misery, so I truly wish you can finally be happy. This is enough. I'm sorry. I didn't have the heart to tell him that I love him." Helis, how strange. I feel like I'm in someone's arms. This warmth, this scent. No, it can't be. I thought I felt something warm brush against my cheek, but it quickly faded away. It's finally over. How did it come to this? All I wanted was to see your smile again. You look like Prince Charming when you smile. A boy asked, "Do you want the boy?" She replies, "I do. How long has it been?" "Wait, is this a blanket?" A lady was asking, "Are you awake, Your Highness?" She said, "It's me, your nanny." She thinks internally, "My nanny?" Nanny ran for her life while leaving me behind. How is she here now? She looked at her hands. She threw the blanket, and the lady shouted, "Wait, Your Highness." She ran, grabbed the mirror, and looked at herself in it. "I'm a child. So tiny." The lady asked, "Did you have a nightmare, Your Highness?" Her eyes widened. "A white room, and familiar furniture." "Yes, it must be. I came back in time as a child." The Hellsdante Empire, ruled by a family blessed by God. Those who murder the Hellsdante shall be forever cursed. That slogan has been passed down since the Hellsdante Empire was first founded. It was a warning to those who dreamed of rebelling against the royal family. This so-called blessing of God helped the Hellsdante family stay in power. Carnephelia Hellsdante, the second princess of the Hellsdante Empire. The Hellsdante trademark is hair like spun gold. Yet, the second princess was born with hair as dark as night. And that princess is yours truly. A servant said, "Your Majesty, Her Highness was born with raven hair." Raven hair is considered unlucky in the Hellsdante Empire. The Emperor said, "She has the same hair color as her mother. I have the perfect name for my daughter, and that's how my father named me after a poisonous flower, Carnephelia, the damned princess. That was how the others called me. But while everyone went out of their way to avoid me, there was one person who dared to approach me. Your Highness, why are you here all by yourself? I've been looking all over for you. My nanny." Nanny's eyes filled with tears, and she said, "I'm so glad. You finally recognize me, Your Highness. I was so worried." I snatched her hand. Nanny was shocked. "Your Highness," I said. "Nanny, my throat hurts." Nanny chuckled and said, "Oh, What was I thinking? Let me go get something to drink, Your Highness. I'll be right back. I said, sure. Then I grit my teeth and covered my nose. I clenched my dress. What the hell is this? I'm sure I was cursed after I killed Ian-Fried with my own 2 hands. I looked at myself. Bony legs. I'm tiny. And frail, too. Let's think things over. I feel pain, so this can't be a dream. It's the curse. Curse? Yes, curse. The curse. Is this how the curse works? This is worse than I thought. If this is the curse of Hell's Dante, I'll gladly endure it. Nanny came back. Oh, Your Highness, she chuckled. Sure you don't need to lie down? The medicine must be working. You won't believe the number of people who sent you medicine to wish you a speedy recovery. I chuckled. Is that so? Nanny said. I feel energized just by looking at your beautiful smile, Your Highness. Here. I brought you some water. I noticed. It's so cold. I asked Nanny. What day is it today? Nanny chuckled. What? Oh, you were in bed for over a week. It's only natural that you lost track of time. Don't worry. You didn't sleep through your birthday. We need you fully recovered so you can enjoy the birthday festivities. In my previous life, how did I answer her? I remember. I smiled back, thinking she was genuinely looking out for me. Nanny chuckled. Now. Please drink your water. It breaks my heart to hear your raspy voice. She makes me want to throw up. She probably mixed poison in this water. Did she think I'd never find out? Nanny, you weakened my mind and body and played me like a puppet. I won't be fooled by you again. I said, Nanny, I think my throat will hurt even more if I drink this. Nanny was surprised. Excuse me, I said. Why don't you drink it, Nanny? Nanny looked surprised, then chuckled, of course. Your Highness. She drank the water and gladly said, Oh, that was so refreshing, she chuckled. My apologies, Your Highness. I drank the entire glass. I said, it's fine. You looked thirstier than I did. Nanny said, You're too kind, Your Highness. She continued, Oh, silly me. Look at the time. I'll go prepare your meal. Please ring if you need anything, Your Highness. I said I will. Nanny opened the door and left. I finally relaxed. Nanny, thinking to herself, said, Thank goodness I didn't mix poison into her water today. I could have ended up poisoning myself. Anyways, that twat isn't her usual self today. It almost sounded like she knew I've been poisoning her. 5 days had passed since I woke up and found myself as a child. I focused on getting my health back on track. I'm tired of being feeble all the time. Try this too, Nanny. Nanny said, of course. Nanny took a bite and said, Yum. I don't know who made it, but this dish is absolutely delicious. Now, please have a bite, Your Highness. Carnephelia said, All right. It's delicious, she exclaimed. But she thought, what is this? The food is so bland. Nanny asked, Is it to your liking? I'll prepare something even more scrumptious when you've fully recovered. Carnephelia thought, well, she won't be poisoning the food for the time being. She poisoned me until I fell sick, then stopped until I recovered. Then she would start feeding me poison again. It was a vicious cycle. This was all for the twisted pleasure of the person who hired Nanny to poison me. Nanny gleamed. Would you like to read a book when you're done with your meal, Your Highness? Carnephelia said, I want to express my gratitude. Nanny looked confused. Express your gratitude? To who? Carnephelia replied, I'd like to express my gratitude to those who sent me medicine. Nanny's eyes widened and she shouted, Oh well. Carnephelia continued, They also sent the ingredients for this delicious meal. Did they not? She thought she must be flustered, as it was all a lie. Nanny hugged her and said, But Your Highness, you're still not fully recovered. I'm worried that you'll fall ill again if you venture outside. She chuckled. You're right, Nanny. Yes, I'll go thank everyone on your behalf. I'd like to pay a visit to just one person today. Nanny, shocked, responded. Excuse me, Carnephelia exclaimed. I can bathe on my own. I'm sure you'll be busy clearing the table. She went to the bathroom, opened the tap, looked at herself in the water, and entered the bathtub. It's freezing. The water's as cold as ice. She started shivering. This is nothing. I must endure this. People murmured. That hair. Is she that princess? Why is she wearing that awful dress? How did she find her way into the Emperor's palace? Shh, keep quiet. Don't meet her eyes. Why? She. Did you hear the rumors? That unlucky, Carnephelia reached back. Nanny said, Your Highness. It's not too late to turn back, she said, but we're already here. Nanny gave a questioning expression. Carnephelia said, We've arrived at His Majesty's office. No one enters His Majesty's office without a prior appointment, Your Highness, said the Grand Chamberlain of the Royal Palace. Carnephelia thought internally, How pitiless of you. It's my very first visit to my father, he said. Well then, please wait here. Nanny said, Your Highness, I think we should head back. We don't want to anger His Majesty. We should leave before he becomes furious with us. Carnephelia said, Don't worry, Nanny. I know you'll protect me from His Majesty's wrath. She snatched her hand. Nanny said nervously, Of course, I'll do my best to protect you. Carnephelia thought, Stop lying through your teeth. Nanny grit her teeth and said, Your Highness. He came back and said, Ahem. His Majesty will be seeing you now, Your Highness, she asked. Is that so? I'll see you later, Nanny. Nanny said, Don't what? You want me to come with you? Carnephelia smiled and said, I don't want you getting scolded on my behalf. It's best if I go in alone. The door creaked open. Here we are at last. Much sooner this time. Curade Alpin Hellsdante, the Emperor of Hellsdante. Second Princess, it's been a while. My father, the man who doomed me for life. Carnephelia said, Greetings to the son of our empire. Carnephelia Hellsdante at your service, Your Majesty. Curade Alpin asked, What brings you here? She said, I'm here to inform you that someone's been putting poison into my food and drink. To hear this, all were surprised. Was it under your orders, Your Majesty? Curade Alpin was confused and said, And what if it was? Carnephelia said, Thank you for letting me know. I'll be taking my leave now, Your Majesty, he said. Wait. You didn't answer my question. He smirked and said, Take a seat, she sits, her hands trembling. And she was thinking, I can't afford to make any mistakes. Stay focused. The Chamberlain went near the Majesty and offered Carnephelia a cup of tea. She thought, What if I'm the one feeding you poison? Curade Alpin said, Will you let yourself be poisoned to death? She thought, He's not being subtle about it. I'm sure he finds it interesting that the daughter he tossed aside came to pay him a visit. Good. Continue to show interest in me. I want you to be invested in my well-being. Look at me and notice that I'm alive and kicking. She smiled and said, You have the world at your feet, Your Majesty. And that's why, if you wish me dead, I'll do what it takes to make it happen. The Chamberlain thought, How? How could a young girl speak like that without batting an eye? Curade Alpin thought, The poison has made her frail and her complexion quite pale. How can she be so sassy when she looks like she could faint at any given minute? She's quite something. Carnephelia thought internally, Don't be scared. Stay calm. Curade Alpin said, You'll do what it takes to make it happen. If I ordered you to end your own life right now, would you do as I say? She was looking at him with a smile on her face. Curade Alpin got confused. He stood up and shouted, What is the meaning of this? The Chamberlain shouted, Your Majesty? He thought, Did she bite her own tongue? Curade Alpin said, Carnephelia said, If I may, Your Highness. You dare to play mind games with me, she said. My apologies, Your Majesty. Curade Alpin thought internally, She's as cunning as a fox. She treads the line, but doesn't step over it. Let me make myself clear. I didn't order anyone to poison you. He continued, Now then, tell me. Do you want me to punish the person who made the order? She smiled. I was waiting for him to say that. She said, No. What I want is much more grandiose than that. He was confused and said, What? She smiled. I want to be given a chance, Your Majesty. I don't remember what happened next. Nanny wouldn't stop fussing over me. Oh, the look on her face when the head chamberlain said he'd be visiting shortly. Nanny came to her. Your Highness, she said. Nanny, don't wake me up until tomorrow morning. Nanny grit her teeth with anger and said softly, Yes, Your Highness. Please get some rest. I want to be given a chance, Your Majesty. Curade Alpin thought, Carnephelia. She does the name justice. He said, "Did you say she has no other servants besides her nanny?" The chamberlain said, "Yes, your majesty." "And the nanny is—" He interrupted him. "That's enough." He waved his hand and said, "She was poisoned, but it's not life-threatening. It's clear who gave the order, so there's no need for an investigation." The chamberlain said, "Yes, your majesty." Alpin thought internally, "I thought she'd ask me to spare her life, not ask for a chance to compete for the throne." Giving birth to Carnephelia was the only thing that wench did right. She was dreaming. There was nobody around her. She was alone. Suddenly, she saw a face. "There you are, Carnephelia." Then she woke up. She thought, "I woke up drenched in sweat, all because of a mere nightmare." She squeezed her hand. "My body is too weak for my own good." After I went to see the emperor, Nanny continued to press for details throughout the week. But I was too drained to give her a proper answer. Nanny asked, "What did you discuss with His Majesty?" Carnephelia thought, "I do feel better after sleeping and eating properly. And I'm getting adjusted to this young body of mine." She walked toward the window, opened it, and stepped outside onto the balcony. "It's so cold." "I came to the past with the memories of the future intact." She raised her hand toward the sky. "But one thing hasn't changed. I'm still alone, for now anyways. I need to find people who will offer loyalty and trust. And this time around, I'll make sure my curse doesn't affect you in any way, Princess." "Your Highness." Nanny burst through the door and shouted, "Wake up, Your Highness." She woke up, rubbing her eyes, and said, "Nanny? It's so early." Nanny replied, "Well, the thing is." The chamberlain entered and said, "Greetings to the second princess of the empire." She said, "Oh, the Grand Chamberlain is here." She smiled and said, "Come on in." "What brings you here?" she asked. The man thought, "They say the princess went to see His Majesty of her own volition. There must be more to her than meets the eye." Carnephelia said, "I finally have guests visiting my quarters." They seemed confused. The chamberlain said, "They'll be assisting you from now on, Your Highness." Nanny, surprised, said, "What is the meaning of this dash?" Carnephelia responded, "I'm fine as I am. Nanny has been taking such good care of me. You'll never leave me. Am I right, Nanny?" Nanny replied, "Oh, of course." Carnephelia continued, "After all, you've been making all the decisions on my behalf. Who to keep and who to let go, it was all you're doing." Nanny, shocked, said, "When did I ever do that?" She said, "It's all a misunderstanding, Grand Chamberlain. Her Highness gets things mixed up from time to time. You may have noticed earlier, but it took a while to arouse her from her sleep." Nanny looked confused and thought, "Why are they staring at me like that?" The chamberlain said, "These people, more so than your nanny, will do their utmost to cater to your every need. And they will pledge loyalty to Her Highness as they should. We'll nurse you back to health, Your Highness. His Majesty also wanted me to relay a message, Your Highness. We'd like a moment of privacy. You may all take your leave." Nanny said, Both servants said, "As you wish, sir." Carnephelia asked, "Did father send his answer to my request?" He answered, "He did, Your Highness," and handed her an envelope. She opened it. "I see. He did give me a chance, but it didn't come for free. I guess I'll have to work harder to prove myself worthy." The chamberlain said, "If I may have a word, Your Highness." "I think it'd be best if you laid low for now, Your Highness. Poison was mere child's play. From now on, everyone in the palace will be watching your every move. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if there was an assassination attempt in the near future," she asked. "But what of it?" The chamberlain said, "Be mindful of the second prince. You must lay low and bide your time. That's more than one word." "My apologies," she said. "Haha, I know you're looking out for me, Grand Chamberlain. And I know it would be safer for me to lay low, but I don't think I can do that." The chamberlain asked, "Excuse me." She replied, "Why do you think His Majesty sent this to me?" "I hereby acknowledge that Carnephelia Hellsdante, second princess of Hellsdante, is now in line to the throne. It seems father wants me to survive by fighting tooth and nail against those who tried to do me wrong." The Grand Chamberlain served under the emperor for years. He was a living witness to the various evils conducted by the emperor, so he was sure his advice would help save the second princess's life. However, the second princess, only 8 years of age, merely smiled at him after hearing him out. It was as if she had the future all mapped out in front of her. The Chamberlain thought, how can she be so sure of herself? She said, you never know what life will throw at you, so you should do whatever you can before death comes knocking on your door. The Chamberlain thought, I was advising her to stay in Ironfried's graces for the meanwhile. Is she really going to throw this opportunity away? She smiled and said, I don't plan on laying low, unfortunately. The Chamberlain said, there will be consequences. She said, is that so? I can't lay any lower than this. Also, I threw down the gauntlet when I asked for a chance to succeed the throne. The Grand Chamberlain served Emperor Karaid for years. You need to throw down the gauntlet if you wish to succeed the throne. And that's why she said the exact same thing as His Majesty. He never forgot the moment he realized the princess and her father were cut from the same cloth. She may be a half-blood princess, but she's of royal blood nonetheless. She smirked and said, Grand Chamberlain, my birthday is coming up. The Chamberlain said, yes, Your Highness. Do you have something in mind for the festivities? She thought, what I have in mind. She said, I want a grand ceremony. There's much for me to celebrate this year. The Chamberlain thought, does she wish to celebrate becoming an official member of the royal family? He said, I'll relay your message to His Majesty. She said, very well. You may leave now. The door burst open. Your Highness, she asked, what is it, Nanny? Nanny asked, what did you discuss with the Grand Chamberlain? She thought, I thought she would at least bring me a glass of water. She said, Nanny. Nanny said, yes, Your Highness. She said, you're the only one I trust. You know that, right? Nanny said, of course I do, Your Highness. She said, I'm sick of living in the shadows, Nanny. Nanny said, Your Highness, there's nothing here. She said, yet, Father included me in the line of succession. Nanny asked, pardon me? She said, he told me I could fight for it. Isn't it wonderful? Now then, go on now. Go relay the news to your real owner. This is only the beginning. Greetings to the second princess of Hellsdante. 5 maids, 6 servants. Where's the knight? This isn't what I expected from the Grand Chamberlain. Would have thought he'd throw in a knight as a warning. They're well-trained and polite, but none of them seem to be fully loyal to me. She smiled and said, you're here in my palace. Does this mean I have your absolute loyalty? A servant said, yes, Your Highness. We pledge to serve you the best we possibly can. She asked, really? Let's see, 2 of you were sent from the Empress's palace. The 3 at the back are from the second prince. The other 2 are from the third princess's palace. You 2 are new, am I correct? And the remaining 2 were sent from His Majesty's palace. She took a sip and asked again, let me ask you again. Do I have your loyalty? Oh, there's no need to be so nervous. You all were sent here with a purpose, but you're working for me now. From now on, it's entirely up to you. They said, yes, Your Highness. She said, you'll have to do your utmost to win my trust. If you make me distrust you, then I'll have no other choice but consider you my enemy. It seems we have an understanding. Now, I want the 2 of you to stay. The rest can leave. Let's see. I wonder who sent you to my palace. I can tell that you both are new. A servant said, I applied for a job at the royal palace after hearing that it was short-staffed. I didn't ask to be sent here. Carnephelia said, you can't talk. Am I right? A servant thought, a mute. She would be the perfect scapegoat, she said. I guess you won't be able to plead innocence if something happened. However, you can speak with your actions, am I right? A servant chuckled and said, speak with actions. You don't know what she's capable of, Your Highness. She's the type of person you should be looking out for. A lady servant near to him attacked him with a knife. He fell down on the floor. She hugged her and said, I've been waiting for you, LL. Carnephelia was always alone. That's because everyone who showed her kindness suffered an untimely death. And once she realized her brother Ianride was behind it, Carnephelia did her best to push everyone away. She mocked them, repelled them. She shouted, didn't you hear me? I told you to get lost. Get out of my sight. But LL refused to leave Carnephelia's side. She thought, don't stay. It will put your life in danger. LL stood by Carnephelia until the very end. A prince said, "You finally made it, my lovely sister. I found a filthy bug in your palace, so I took care of it for you. Mark my words, Carnephelia. You're going to be alone, forever. As long as I'm alive and breathing," she said, LL. "I swear to destroy your enemies until the day I die," she thought. Hasn't changed a bit. Mommy must have been a scary person to have prepared you on my behalf. Just what did Mommy teach you? For you to be so unconditionally loyal. She said, "You're my people now. So I don't want you to harm yourself anymore. The only person I fully trust. And now my trustworthy servant. Thank you for coming, LL. Help me turn this filthy royal palace upside down." So he was hiding these daggers. Now I remember. He was an assassin sent by Ian Fried. The room reeks with the smell of blood. I'm losing my appetite. Nanny burst through the door and shouted, "Your Highness, it's time for..." She got shocked and thought, is that a body? What's going on? She hugged Nanny and said, "Nanny, I was so frightened." That servant suddenly crumbled to the floor and the carpet started to turn red. Nanny thought, suddenly, was there an assassination attempt? Then why is the princess still alive? This doesn't make any sense. Carnephelia said, "By the way, I'm hungry." Nanny was shocked. After some time at the dining hall in the second princess's quarters, they had to dust off the dining hall so she could have her meal there. Oh, the look on Nanny's face. She was sure Nanny was wondering why she survived and the servant did not. The new staff will try their best to win my trust, in order to gain control over me, just like Nanny did. So I'm sure there's no poison in the food, she said. It looks delicious. Poison or not, I think I could eat to my heart's content. The servant said, "Allow us to check the food for poison." "Why, Your Highness," she replied, "it's fine. I know you didn't poison my meal. There's no reason to be so worried. I look forward to my next meal." As she was stepping outside, the servants were thinking, "She's so young and frail." Another said, "Yes, she's still a mere child." They whispered to each other. She hardly touched her food. Was she really being poisoned? She just saw a person die. I'd lose my appetite too. Carnephelia thought, I need to find my people. I need people who pledge loyalty to me for who I am, but there must be a justifiable reason for their loyalty. She said, "LL, there's something you need to know. Do you know the blessing Ian Fried received from our gods? Those who dare to end his life will be cursed. That is his blessing. And because of that curse, I'm back in the past living my second life. In my past life, Ian Fried took everything I ever loved away from me. I got my revenge by beheading him, but the curse brought me back to the past. I'm sure you're having trouble understanding this, LL. You did your best to protect me in my previous life. But back then, I was weak and powerless, and I could do nothing to prevent your death. I'm not going to let that happen this time around. I'm going to become the Emperor, and I'll bring the Helis Dante Empire down in ruins. I shall protect the people I love. So brace yourself, LL. Serving a cursed princess won't be easy. Your wish is my command."